A female elephant stands beside a skeleton. The bones are scattered across dry earth, bleached white by years of sunlight. Wind moves through the grass. Insects hum in the distance. The elephant does not eat, does not drink, does not continue walking. Instead, she reaches forward with the tip of her trunk and gently touches a skull. Then she touches it again and again, as though searching for something that is no longer there. The scene lasts only minutes. Yet researchers who witnessed moments like this found themselves facing a question that refuses to disappear. What exactly is happening inside that animal's mind? Most people think death belongs to humans. That awareness of mortality emerged somewhere between language, philosophy, and civilization. That animals experience death only as an interruption, a disappearance, a biological event they cannot truly comprehend. It is a comforting idea, a clean boundary separating us from the rest of life. But the boundary begins to fracture the moment you look closely, because throughout forests, oceans, grasslands, and skies, animals keep behaving in ways that are difficult to explain. And the deeper scientists investigate those behaviors, the stranger the picture becomes. Not because animals seem more human than we expected, but because death itself may be far more mysterious than we imagined. The story begins long before humans asked questions about mortality, long before graveyards, long before religion, long before anyone carved meaning into stone. For hundreds of millions of years, life evolved beneath a simple reality. Everything dies. Every predator, every prey animal, every colony, every generation. The history of life is not written in survival. It is written in disappearance. And yet, something remarkable happened. Certain creatures evolved brains capable of recognizing patterns, capable of remembering individuals, capable of forming bonds, capable of noticing absence. At first glance, absence seems simple. It is not. To understand absence is to compare reality against expectation, to recognize that something which should be here is no longer here. That realization may be one of the deepest cognitive abilities in nature, because the moment a mind understands absence, it begins approaching the edge of a far more dangerous understanding: loss. And loss is where this investigation truly begins. Most people imagine animal emotions as simple instincts. Researchers noticed something strange. Again and again, certain animals behaved as though the disappearance of companions mattered long after practical survival required it. Mother whales have been observed carrying dead calves for days, sometimes weeks, swimming vast distances while supporting bodies that can no longer move. The behavior consumes energy, increases risk, provides no obvious evolutionary reward. Yet it occurs repeatedly. The ocean is filled with silent processions that few humans ever witness. A mother moving through endless water beside a child that will never surface again. Scientists still debate what exactly these behaviors mean, but debate itself reveals something important. The answer is not obvious. If the explanation were simple instinct, the question would already be settled. Instead, uncertainty remains, and uncertainty is often where the most important discoveries hide. Then there are the chimpanzees. In the forests of Africa, researchers have documented communities reacting to death in ways that feel unsettlingly familiar. When an individual dies, entire social groups sometimes gather around the body. They inspect it, remain unusually quiet, alter normal routines. Young chimpanzees occasionally continue attempting to interact with deceased mothers long after movement has ceased. Not for minutes, sometimes for days. Most people assume animals instantly understand death. That is not what some observations suggest. In certain cases, behavior appears to unfold in stages: confusion, investigation, withdrawal, something resembling adjustment, not necessarily identical to human grief, but perhaps not entirely separate from it either. And that possibility changes the question. The mystery is no longer whether animals react to death. Clearly they do. The mystery becomes whether they understand what death means. The distinction is enormous. A child can see a dead bird. A scientist can see a dead bird. Both witness the same event. Only one fully understands its implications. The challenge facing researchers is that animal minds remain inaccessible. No elephant can describe its thoughts. No raven can explain its beliefs. No dolphin can articulate its fears. We are surrounded by intelligence, trapped behind silence. And that silence creates one of the deepest problems in science. How do you measure an experience that cannot be spoken? Yet even within that silence, clues continue emerging. Consider crows. For years, biologists noticed an unusual pattern. When crows encounter a dead crow, they often gather. Dozens sometimes arrive. Branches fill with black silhouettes. The air becomes tense with calls. At first, researchers assumed these gatherings resembled funerals. The reality appears stranger. The birds seem to use death as information. A dead crow may signal danger, a predator, a threat hidden within the environment. The gathering becomes an investigation, a collective attempt to understand risk. Most people think this explanation makes the behavior less profound. It may do the opposite, because recognizing death as a permanent state requiring future behavioral adjustment is already an extraordinary cognitive achievement. It means the animal is not merely reacting, it is learning from mortality. Death becomes knowledge, and knowledge changes behavior. The implications reach further than many realize, because once a creature understands that others can die, it may eventually recognize something far more disturbing, that it can die too. Scientists remain cautious here. The evidence becomes increasingly difficult to interpret. Some animals appear capable of anticipating danger with remarkable sophistication. Many avoid situations associated with previous deaths. Some alter social behavior following losses. But self-awareness of mortality, the realization that I will someday cease to exist, remains one of the most difficult ideas to investigate, perhaps because it is one of the most difficult ideas for humans as well. We often speak as though we understand death, but do we? Every civilization in history has surrounded death with stories. Religions, rituals, philosophies, myths, entire cultures built around a single impossible fact. Something is here, then it is not. And consciousness, despite all our science, still cannot fully explain why that fact feels so unsettling. Which introduces a possibility few people consider. Perhaps the difference between humans and animals is not that we understand death while they do not. Perhaps the difference is one of degree, not kind, scale, depth, complexity, a spectrum rather than a boundary. And if that is true, then the line separating human consciousness from animal consciousness becomes far less certain. The elephant touching ancient bones, the whale carrying her calf, the chimpanzee refusing to leave a companion, the raven studying a fallen member of its flock. None of these scenes prove that animals understand death exactly as humans do. The research does not support such certainty. But they reveal something equally important. Death matters to them. Somewhere inside minds shaped by millions of years of evolution, information is being processed. Expectations are being violated. Relationships are being altered. The world changes, and the animal notices. Perhaps that should not surprise us. After all, humans did not emerge outside nature. We emerged from it. Every emotion, every fear, every attachment, built upon foundations laid long before our species existed. The roots of mourning may reach deeper into the tree of life than we once imagined, and that realization leads somewhere unexpected. This story was never really about animals. It was about a question hiding beneath every observation. When we look into the eyes of another creature standing beside its dead, what exactly are we seeing? Instinct? Emotion? Understanding? Or a reflection of something ancient that existed before language gave it a name? The data cannot fully answer. Perhaps it never will, because death is not merely a biological event. It is a boundary, and every conscious creature approaches that boundary from the same side. The side where questions exist. The side where absence leaves a shape behind. Maybe that is why scenes like the elephant and the bones feel so unsettling. Not because they remind us that animals may understand death, but because they remind us that no creature truly understands it. We only stand beside the mystery for a little while, touch it gently, and then, sooner or later, become part of it ourselves.